It is finally time for the final challenge of this league. Hello everyone, it's SK95. Welcome back to more Pokemon LeafGreen. Last time, we managed to beat Agatha and Lance of the Elite Four, allowing us to reach the champion, who is actually our rival. And now it is finally time to go after our rival and fight him once and for all. And finally defeat him and claim that title of champion from him. Hey Nick, I was looking forward to seeing you, Nick. My rival should be strong to keep up with me sharp. While working on my Pokedex, I looked all over for Pokemon. Not only that, I assembled teams that would beat any Pokemon type. And now, I'm the Pokemon League champion. Nick, you know what that means? I'll tell you, I'm the most powerful trainer in the world! Our rival has become the league champion and has 4 full restores, so keep an eye out. He starts off with Pidgeot, level 59, normal flying type, keen eye for the ability, aerial ace, feather dance, sand attack, whirlwind. Yeah, not a fun moveset nonetheless, and frankly honest, Pidgeot's probably going to be the one that's going to be the more annoying one of the two, because thankfully it's not going to do whirlwind last. Whirlwind, no matter what, will always go last in any battle, so, paralysis procced, and it used great, I hate Sand Attack, which means I'm gonna miss. And you use Bulbasaur. I hit way too hard and he used it already. No! If I actually connect, thank you. Return usually is at 102 power at max friendship, so it should be enough to actually hit this Pidgeot at least decent damage. Yes! Oh, that cheap coward. Out of all the AI rivals, he's the only one that will actually switch his Pokemon to Rhydon. Rhydon, level 59, rock ground type. Lightning rod for the ability. Rock tomb, takedown, earthquake, scary face. Yeah, not a fun moveset, I'll say outright. And frankly, it's probably one of the more annoying movesets. We gotta switch out immediately, because if we don't, we're gonna get hit hard by that earthquake. Sadly though, since I did just switch out, I'm gonna take damage from earthquake. I should have probably switched to drag and then just swapped out again in order to save the Pokemon, but this is not gonna take many hits. Honestly, Rhydon's biggest flaw is the fact that special defense is one of the worst things about it. Which means it's going down in one shot from a dang surf attack. Thank goodness, because that was scary. Anyway, let's switch out the next Pokemon to Arcanine. Why are you sending that out? Oh, wait, probably. No, normally, I would not switch, and likely I would not. And I am not going to switch. The problem is, Arcanine level 59, Fire type, Intimidate for the ability, Flamethrower, Extreme Speed, Bite, and Roar. That extreme speed is annoying. It's very, very, very obnoxious. And sadly, Glimmer has now taken the fall because of that dang extreme speed. Holy cow, you started at 1 HP. Okay, Glimmer. Okay. Sadly, this means that you're going to likely use that full restore now. Or use the extreme speed again because you have nothing else better to do. Great. Thanks, game. Thanks a lot. Alright. Enough of that. None of this. Anarchy, get out here and finish him off. You of course you'd go for Flamethrower. Of course I'm slower than a dang Arcanine. Okay, that's it. Get out of here. That's annoying. At least Arcanine's finally down and out. Yeah, that was annoying. Losing Glimmer hurts, but it's not exactly as bad as you may think. Alakazam! Alright, let's switch out the Pokemon because, well, normally I would risk Anarchy because of the dang Mega Horn power out. I am not exactly comfortable with risking Anarchy with that dang Pokemon, which has a high special attack set. Anyway, let's send Tank out and actually have him take a run at Alakazam. Alakazam, level 57, Psychic type, Synchronize for the ability, Psychic, Reflect, Future Sight, Recover. Yeah, not a fun moveset. And of course, you start off with Psychic immediately instead of going through Reflect, where that's effective. So let's use Substitute in order something to take the damage at least. Sadly, this means I need to heal off the leftovers, but at the same time, I can get away with it. Let's send a Toxic out on it. Well, it's using Reflect normally, but thankfully though, Toxic did not connect. Game. I know Toxic's accuracy isn't high enough yet, but come on. I know you can connect when you want to. Substitute took damage and unfortunately faded, which is annoying, but I can hopefully have Toxic land this time. Thank you. Good grief. That thing is annoying. Sadly, Reflect being up means Shadow Ball does less damage, and Immunity prevents Synchronize from working. Thank you. Get out of here, you dang bozo. That's not funny in the slightest. What is it with you and your dang nonsense like that? I really don't care for you, you dang annoying Alakazam. Sadly, though, its special defense stat, Tank is really good at tanking these psychic attacks. The problem is, Reflect is going to cut the damage power in half thanks to stupid lowering defense stat by half. And it's going to take damage. I'm going to heal leftovers. I think I have enough HP to survive one more psychic, and then I'll be able to knock this thing out. Please do not get knocked out, tank. I beg of you. Okay, good. I was a little worried for a second, but at least Alakazam's finally down. This thing's annoying. Now, here is where the problem starts. This is going to be tough because actually Executor is going to be more annoying. Normally, I would say, yeah, I'm going to send Dragon. Dragon is probably the best option I have for Executor. So, his next Pokemon, the Grass type, Executor, is Grass Psychic type. Level 61. Chlorophyll for the ability. Sleep Powder, LeafGreen, Giga Drain, Egg Bomb. If he had another starter type of Fire type or Grass type, he instead would have a Gyarados, which is level 61. Water Flying type, Intimidate for the ability. Hydro Pump, Dragon Rage, Bite, Thrash. As a moveset, it's very, very, very scary to have that thing with Thrash. Thankfully, though, Executor is not exactly as bad as he may appear, but I hate Sleep Powder. Why is it whenever I try to do status condition moves, it misses, but whenever they do status condition moves, it hits no matter what? I'm trying to rely on the fact of not using a healing item for full heal, but really I might have to at some point. And he's fast asleep. I'm not going to stay asleep for several turns. I refuse. I outright refuse. No. We are not doing that game. And, of course, you get LeafGreen off. Of course. You know what? I'm betting you're going to use Sleep Powder again, and you're going to, yep. I read you like a book. And since Reflect's no longer up, this will take some damage. Alright, half HP. Just gotta do it again, and you're... You know, I complain very hard, but why does the AI have to be the cheapest jerk in the planet? Like, really? Just stop doing that. It's not funny. And the only offensive move it has that does damage to me is Egg Bomb, which is technically neutral in this game. So, yeah, not fun. In fact, I'm using Fly in the final battle is more or less suppressing. So, LeafGreen finally wore off for once. Get out of here with that. Executor, you are very annoying. Thankfully, it went down for once. So, last Pokemon, Blastoise, his starter. So, let's see. What do I want to use for this one? Let us use Sparky like normal. Sparky is going to be a main lead for this. So, let us see his starter Pokemon. Actually, it's not his last because dang, Pidgeot's still alive. Blastoise, level 63, Water type, Torn for the ability. Rain Dance, Hydro Pump, Bite, Install Bash while holding a Citrus Berry. If he had the other starters, he would set up a Charizard, the same level, different typing, of course Fire Flying, and a Citrus Berry, Fire Blast, Aerial Ace, Slash, Fire Spin. And if he had picked the other one, he would instead have the Pokemon known as Venusaur with Growth, Sunny Day, Solar Beam, Synthesis. Yeah, not fun. I'm going to start off with LeafGreen in order to make sure the special attack stat it does to me is far, far less than it missed Hydro Pump. Good. Okay, I gotta cripple that thing's speed right now because I really don't want to deal with this thing. Alright, that's at least a good amount of dang, and at least LeafGreen cuts the damage in half. Wow, that's actually really bad for how much damage it gets cut in half because, man, normally it would be even more. Because if I didn't use the LeafGreen, I would be screwed. Okay, at least half HP. That means I can knock it out with another Hydro Pump. What's with the enemy using moves that make no sense? Like Lance's dang Safeguard Dragonite nonsense. Like, why? Sorry about that, I had a random sneeze pop in because I didn't want it, but apparently the universe said, oh hey, you're gonna sneeze during a recording because it's funny. And great, because of the stupid nonsense and the fact that it's low HP, this means one thing and one thing alone. You're gonna heal, and I'm gonna be annoyed. Right, stupid Torn activated. You know what? I'm betting you're gonna use that full restore again, and you're gonna immediately have to use it because you're so low on HP and nothing else will happen. So you know what? I'm gonna use Toxic, and you're gonna get stuck lowering HP every turn. I knew you would go for that full restore, you stupid rival of mine. Why do you always do this? Losing my electric type sucks because that means I have to rely on actually hitting the Pokemon. Now Toxic at least connected at least. That stupid Blastoise and my LeafGreen got me off. Great. Great. Just great. Just great. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna actually have to do this because I really hate doing this, but I don't have much of a choice. Because that's my only option. First, I'm gonna use a full restore on this turn. Heal tank all the way up. And then we're gonna have to hope and pray it actually does not land. Hydro Pump is failing miserably. Thankfully, though, it only has 5 PP. Which means it's not gonna do much damage, but still, it's annoying. I'm having a hard time with this. And it missed on its 5th shot, which means that it's out of Hydro Pump. What do you get for me, tank? Well, that does nothing. I can't do that unless I stockpile it once. On the plus side, though, it's whittling down its HP. It doesn't really have much going for it. And it's using Rain Dance after it. Okay, it makes sense because the enemy is trying to boost Hydro Pump, which it can't use anymore because it ran out of PP. Memento! That's the worst thing I could have gotten. Well, its stats are now basically crippled, which means this thing will actually go down very quickly. That's one of the things I was not expecting. Well, on the plus side, though, since this thing is crippled entirely, I can actually get away with using George and do nonsense to it, because it's actually hilarious to me. On the plus side, though, that dang cripple nonsense is actually hilarious, and I've had enough. Brick break. Oh, ow. That tickled. That's right, all of your offensive stats are basically cut in half. That is annoying, but I did not expect Memento to be the thing that actually happened. Well, there are 2 moves that suck, sacrifice like that, and one of them being Memento, and the other one is a different move entirely. Unfortunately, since there's rain out, I can't exactly risk drag going out there yet. And this is actually a risk I'm likely going to faint, but I'm going to use this turn to revive Sparky and let George take the fall. Unfortunately, this is how it's going to be. And if you just waste your turn to use Feather Dance on me, actually, this is just one of the worst things about it. Feather Dance is basically a move that cuts the opponent's attack stats harshly. Which is probably the worst thing that could happen to a dang Primate, and this cripples me entirely. So I'm going to use a Hyper Potion this turn, and then I'm going to hit Sparky next up. That is the best thing. So, yeah. You're not hitting me with Aerial Ace when you know fully well that will hurt. What is wrong with you, and why is the rain lasting so long? Now you use Aerial Ace on me, you jerk. And the fact that George survived it with its dang attack defense stat is very much impressive. Sadly, though, that impressiveness is all it's gone. Alright, that's annoying. And goodbye, George, I knew thee well, because I can't exactly do anything about that. Sorry, George. The fact my rival's giving me this much trouble makes sense. Dang Pidgeot, of course of all things, it had to be Pidgeot. Of course, of course. And of course, as soon as I knock you down in HP, you decide to switch out the ride out and make everything miserable for me. Great, just great. At least that's fun. Champion Jacob's been defeated. No! That can't be! You beat me at best? After all the work to become the league champ? My reign is over already? It's not fair! Why? Why did I lose? Never made any mistakes raising my Pokemon. Darn it! You're the new Pokemon League champion! Although I don't like to admit it. Nick. So you won, sincerely. Congratulations! You're the new Pokemon League champion. You've grown up so much since you first left with Charmander to work on the Pokédex. Nick, you have come to of age. Jacob, I'm disappointed in you. I came when I heard you've beaten the Elite Four, but when I got here, you had already lost. Jacob, do you understand why you lost? You've forgotten to treat your Pokemon with love and trust. Without them, you'll never become a champ again. Nick, you understand that your victory was not just your own doing. The bond you share with your Pokemon is marvelous. Nick, come with me. Goodbye, rival who lost and made me lose my mind. Great. Congratulations, Nick. This floor is the Pokemon Hall of Fame. Pokemon League champions are honored for their exploits. Here, their Pokemon are also recorded in the Hall of Fame. Nick, you have worked hard to become the new League champion. Congratulations, Nick. You and your Pokemon are League famers. And that is it for the Pokemon League. And now it's time for the Hall of Fame. Starting up the list of Pokemon we've encountered and using and we forcibly saved. So, yeah, you have no choice. Sparky the Raichu, found in the Viridian Forest. Tank, found on the routes. Charizard, our starter. Anarchy, our third team member. Glimmer, our fifth. And George, our, well, of course, being our fighting type that we got on the second team member. Actually, I'm losing my mind today. I just can't order today. Anyway, I'm being forced through everything. I can't really counter it. Congratulations, League Champion. That took 84 hours. A lot of the hours extra were off screen and me just not saving, so I can make sure I don't lose save data. So, yeah, not good. Anyway, that's it for the league. And we're all done. And our rival now leaves to go back to train in order to surpass us once again. And now it's time for the end credits. So, this game is not yet done yet. We still have more to go for the post-game, especially if you were playing this version of the game, especially the Savali Islands. They have more of the ground to cover afterwards. But besides that, though, the game itself is definitely a very good hallmark of the series at this time, and it was a good peak standard for Gen 3 mechanics until Emerald showed up and basically blew everything out of the water with its best animations, better storytelling, as well as better battles. But besides that, though, really the game is definitely tricky and definitely not too dang hard, but the League definitely throws everything a curveball if you're not careful. Especially at the beginning of the game as well, given the fact that Misty, if you do not pick the starter that is actually her weakness, makes everything 10 times harder thanks to having water pulse. Charizard. Besides that, though, a lot of the gym leaders didn't really give me too much trouble, with the exception of Missy being the headache, and I had to take a temporary team member just because. I didn't have much of a choice in that matter, because if I wanted to beat her entirely, I would have no choice but the off-screen grind, and at that point, I really didn't want to grind for several hours and hours, mainly because Misty's dang Stormy was one of the dang game's deal breakers. In the original game and the other game, and this game, it's no exception. Misty is a big roadblock. But besides that, though, really the other gym leaders weren't exactly that bad. I didn't have any trouble with Surge. Surge is actually one of the easier gym leaders. And frankly honest, I'd say he's not that bad. Now, Pokemon Tower and Team Rocket's plot, I'll say outright, it continues on after the post-game. And then continues on from Pokemon Gold and Silver. Especially its remakes, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and if you're playing the other one, Crystal. So, there's that. There's still more Team Rocket action later in the series. But besides that, though, this game series is not done yet. So, let us watch the credits roll, and then we'll end this off. Next time on Pokemon LeafGreen, we will be tackling the post-game content. The end.